All right, let's dive into this and break down everything happening around the Eagles right now. Starting with the coaching search. The biggest headline has been the sudden withdrawals from a number of offensive coordinator candidates, and it has everyone wondering what the real issue is at first glance. It might seem like the Eagles' job is suddenly undesirable, like something has changed behind the scenes. Some people are saying that Nick Sirianni might have too much control over the offense, or that Howie Roseman and Jeff Lurie are making decisions that are scaring candidates away. Others think it's simply the nature of the market right now, with so many teams looking for coordinators and head coaches, that the competition is fiercer than ever. But the thing that really sticks out to me is the theory that a lot of these candidates might actually be seeing the Eagles' job as a stepping stone to something bigger. Think about it. The Eagles are a top-tier team with a strong roster, and if you come in and do your job the right way, you're basically positioning yourself to become a head coach the following year. That's the kind of opportunity you don't get everywhere. So maybe some of these coaches are withdrawing because they believe Nick Sirianni's job is not secure. If they think he might be fired within a year or two, they may prefer to wait it out and take over the team themselves instead of being the offensive coordinator under him. That's a bold way to look at it, but it could be the reality now. When you look at the Eagles' history, it's hard to argue that this job is not attractive. The roster is loaded with talent, and the team has been consistently competitive. If you come in and install your system, you have the chance to win immediately. The issue might not be the team itself, but the environment around it. Are coaches afraid of being micromanaged? Are they worried about not being allowed to bring in their own staff? These are valid concerns, especially when you see a lot of coaches want to bring in their own offensive line coach or defensive staff, and they don't want to work with the existing staff. That can create friction, and if the candidates feel like they're not going to have the freedom to build the staff they want, they might decide it's not worth it. Another point that's worth considering is the Eagles' reputation in the league. People talk, and sometimes those rumors become a narrative. If coaches believe the Eagles are difficult to work with, or that the front office is controlling, that can be a huge deterrent. It's one thing to hear it from fans or the media, but if the rumor spreads among coaches and agents, it becomes a real issue. And when you're dealing with high-profile candidates, perception matters a lot. If a coach thinks the job is a risk, they might not want to gamble on it, especially when there are other opportunities out there. Speaking of opportunities, there's also the question of who is actually available. Some of the popular names that Eagles fans have been hoping for seem to be trending elsewhere. For example, the recent buzz around Casey Schoenhaus, who people were convinced would be the next Eagles offensive coordinator, has shifted toward other teams, like Buffalo or Cleveland. That kind of thing can make it feel like the Eagles are being passed over, and it can be frustrating for fans who want to see a clear plan. The reality is that there are a lot of moving parts, and it's not always a simple decision for these coaches. They have to consider stability, staff control, and the direction of the franchise. At the same time, the Eagles have shown in the past that they can strike gold when they make the right hire. We all remember the move to bring in Kellen Moore and how it turned into a Super Bowl run. That kind of success creates a standard, and now the expectations are even higher. When you compare the current situation to that moment, it's easy to feel like something is off. But it could just be that this is a different market and a different year. It's not always going to be smooth sailing, and the team may have to navigate through a longer search process to find the right fit. Now, while all of this is going on, the Eagles have been making moves internally as well. One of the most notable updates is the promotion of Joe Casper. Casper has been working with the Eagles secondary for a while, and now he's stepping into a bigger role. This is significant because it signals that the Eagles are trying to maintain continuity within their coaching staff, even as they search for a new offensive coordinator. Joe Casper's promotion is also a vote of confidence in the way he's helped develop players. While some people were unsure about how much he impacted the development of guys like Sidney Brown or Reed Blankenship, there's no denying that Andrew Motopuaka showed major growth under his coaching. That kind of development doesn't go unnoticed, and it's one of the reasons why so many people in the building respect him. What makes Casper's promotion even more interesting is that it's connected to Christian Parker moving up to defensive coordinator. Parker's promotion is another example of the Eagles trying to keep stability within the defensive side of the ball. The Eagles have always been known for having a strong defensive identity, and maintaining that consistency is crucial. Even if there are questions about some of the younger players, The organization seems confident in the direction of the defense. Casper stepping up to fill a bigger role shows that the Eagles are investing in internal talent and trusting the coaches who have been part of the system for a while. But let's be real. The biggest question on everyone's mind right now is the quarterback situation, and not just because of the candidates withdrawing from the offensive coordinator search, but because of the constant chatter about Jalen Hurts. You can't scroll through social media without seeing trade scenarios and hypotheticals being thrown around. The most ridiculous one I've seen is the idea of trading Jalen Hurts for Joe Burrow, with the Eagles sending multiple first-round picks on top. That's the kind of talk that makes you shake your head, because it's not grounded in reality. It's the kind of speculation that only exists because of the narrative created by the media, and it's doing nothing but stirring up chaos. The truth is, Jalen Hurts is not the problem. He has proven he can win at the highest level, and he's a Super Bowl MVP for a reason. Yes, he's had some down years and he's had injuries, but that's part of the game. If you look at Joe Burrow, he has a similar situation. Great weapons, a subpar offensive line, and a history of injuries. The difference is that Burrow has never really been able to stay healthy for a full season, and that's a huge risk. If you trade for him and the results are worse than what you had, you've just set the franchise back for years. You're not guaranteed a better outcome just because you're swapping quarterbacks. And then there's the question of what happens if the Eagles miss the playoffs with Hurts. People act like that would be the end of the world. But if the team still makes the playoffs even with a down year, that's not the end of the world either. Hurts has proven he can win in big games, and he has shown that he can carry a team. If the Eagles were to go through a rough season, it doesn't automatically mean Hurts is the problem. The issues could be on the offensive line, the coaching staff, or the overall roster construction. It's not always as simple as blaming the quarterback. Another factor that might be affecting the coordinator search is the uncertainty around the rest of the roster, particularly with A.J. Brown. If coaches are unsure whether Brown will be in Philadelphia next season, it makes it harder for them to commit to the job. They don't want to walk into a situation where the offensive weapons are uncertain, and they're forced to rebuild or adjust their entire system. That kind of instability can scare off candidates, especially those who want to come in and immediately implement a high-level offense. So at the end of the day, I think the reason candidates are withdrawing has less to do with Hurts and more to do with the perception of the Eagles' organizational control and the uncertainty around the future. The Eagles are a great team with a talented roster, but the coaching environment and the front office dynamics are what people are questioning. And while it's easy to point fingers at the quarterback, the reality is that the Eagles have been successful with Hurts, and they have a system that can win. The question is whether the team can maintain that success while navigating through a potentially messy coaching search. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think is really going on? Are the candidates withdrawing because of the quarterback situation? Or is it something deeper within the organization? And how do you feel about the idea of trading for a quarterback like Joe Burrow? Let me know your thoughts, because this is a conversation that is far from over, and we are just getting started. All right, now that we've laid out the main storylines, let's get deeper into what's actually going on with the Eagles right now, and what the future might look like. One thing that stands out is the growing concern over how the coaching search is being perceived. When a team is looking for a coordinator, especially one as important as an offensive coordinator, you expect a certain level of excitement and urgency. But what we've seen with the Eagles is a lot of quiet exits and withdrawals, and that can make fans start to wonder if there's something deeper going on. It's not just about who the team wants. It's about who is willing to step into a role that might not give them the control they need. A lot of people are pointing to the idea that the Eagles' front office isn't controlling. They've built a strong identity and a winning culture. But the question is whether they are also limiting the freedom of the coaches they hire. If coaches feel like they are going to be boxed in or micromanaged, that can be a major deterrent. When you're a coordinator, you want to have the ability to build a system and bring in the staff you trust. If you can't do that, you're basically working in someone else's playbook. And that's not a comfortable place to be, especially for high-profile candidates who want to prove themselves and move up to a head coaching job. Another factor that might be affecting the Eagles' ability to attract candidates is the perception of Nick Sirianni's job security. If coaches believe Sirianni is on a short leash, they may not want to come in and be associated with a potential failure. That's a real risk. A coordinator who joins a team and gets fired after a year because the head coach gets replaced can find themselves in a tough position when trying to get their next job. So if the perception is that Sirianni might not last, candidates could be hesitant to join the staff. They might rather wait for a head coaching opportunity or take a job where they have more stability, but the Eagles are not the only team dealing with these kinds of issues. In the NFL, coaching searches can be messy and unpredictable. And sometimes it's just a matter of timing. Teams may take their time, and candidates may decide to wait for a better situation. That said, the Eagles are in a unique position because they are a contender. If you're a coach looking to win right away, the Eagles should be an attractive destination. They have the pieces, the culture, and the support, so it's worth asking why more candidates aren't jumping at the opportunity. Now let's talk about the bigger picture. The Eagles have to consider the long-term future, and that means thinking about how the team will evolve over the next few years. The roster is talented, but there are always questions about how long that talent will remain intact. Key players get older, contracts expire, and injuries happen. The team has to plan for all of that. If coaches sense that the roster is not going to be as strong next season, or if they're unsure about the direction of the team, they might be less inclined to take the job. Coaches want a clear path to success, and if that path seems uncertain, they may look elsewhere. Another point worth discussing is the role of the media and how it influences the narrative. The Eagles have a passionate fan base and a loud media environment, and that can be both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it creates excitement and attention, which can be great for the team. On the other hand, it can create pressure and distractions that some coaches may not want to deal with. The media can amplify every decision, every mistake, and every rumor, and that can be overwhelming for a coordinator trying to focus on building an offense. If coaches feel like they are going to be under constant scrutiny, they may choose to avoid the situation altogether. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy, share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Patrick Mahomes doesn't usually let his words wander too far beyond the safe lines of respect and competitiveness, which is why his latest reaction involving the Eagles has quickly turned into one of the most talked about rumors around the league and conversations circulating among insiders and locker room whispers. Mahomes reportedly offered a perspective that few expected, and it has fueled speculation well beyond a simple quote. According to those close to the situation, Mahomes was candid when the subject of the Eagles came up. Rather than focusing on individual stars or familiar narratives, he is said to have highlighted something deeper, the identity and mindset of the team. That alone raised eyebrows, as it suggests a level of attention and admiration that goes past routine pre-game talk. Some interpret this as a sign that Mahomes sees the Eagles not just as another opponent, but as a benchmark for what a complete team can look like. What truly surprised people, however, was the tone attributed to his comments. Instead of projecting supreme confidence, Mahomes allegedly acknowledged the challenge posed by the Eagles' structure and adaptability. For a quarterback known for his calm swagger, this subtle shift has sparked debate. Is this simply honesty from a veteran leader, or does it reveal a genuine concern about matching up with a team that prides itself on balance and discipline? Around the league, opinions are split. Some believe Mahomes' reaction is a calculated move, meant to show respect while quietly motivating his own locker room. Others think it hints at a growing rivalry narrative, one built less on trash talk and more on mutual recognition. Either way, the speculation continues to grow, because when a player of Mahomes' stature speaks differently than expected, people listen closely. Whether these remarks were intentional or simply candid reflections, they have already done their job, shifting the conversation. The Eagles, once again, find themselves at the center of attention, not because of headlines they created, but because of the unexpected reaction of one of the game's biggest stars. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.